The Art of Reading People. Unlocking the Secrets of Body Language. Written and published by NSC Boost. Chapter 1. Introduction to Body Language. Body language is a fascinating aspect of human communication that often goes unnoticed. Yet it holds the power to reveal a wealth of information about a person's thoughts, feelings, and intentions. When we interact with others, our bodies are constantly sending out nonverbal signals that can either reinforce or contradict the words we speak. By learning to decipher these subtle cues, you can gain a deeper understanding of the people around you and improve your ability to communicate effectively. The importance of nonverbal communication cannot be overstated. Research suggests that up to 93% of our communication is nonverbal, which means that the majority of the messages we convey to others are transmitted through our body language, facial expressions, and vocal tonality. This staggering statistic highlights the need for developing a keen awareness of the nonverbal signals we send and receive in our daily interactions. Imagine walking into a room and instantly sensing the tension in the air. Even without a single word being spoken, you can detect that something is amiss. This is because our bodies are hardwired to pick up on nonverbal cues, and we subconsciously interpret them to form impressions and guide our behavior. By honing your observational skills and learning to read body language, you can tap into this innate ability and use it to your advantage. The science behind body language is rooted in evolutionary psychology. Our ancestors relied heavily on nonverbal communication to survive in a world where language was not as developed as it is today. They needed to quickly assess whether someone was a friend or foe, and they did so by reading facial expressions, body posture, and other nonverbal signals. This ability has been passed down through generations and is still deeply ingrained in our brains, even in our modern, verbally oriented society. To become a skilled reader of body language, you must first develop your observational skills. This means paying attention to the subtle nuances of people's behavior and learning to interpret them in context. It's not just about memorizing a list of gestures and their meanings. It's about developing a holistic understanding of how nonverbal cues work together to convey a message. Start by observing people in your everyday life. Notice how their facial expressions change when they're happy, sad, or angry. Pay attention to the way they stand, sit, and move, and consider how these postures might reflect their emotional state or level of confidence. Observe how people use their hands to emphasize a point or convey a particular meaning. As you begin to pay more attention to nonverbal cues, you'll start to notice patterns and consistencies in people's behavior. You'll see how certain gestures tend to accompany specific emotions or intentions, and you'll learn to recognize these cues more quickly and accurately over time. However, it's important to remember that body language is not an exact science. While there are some universal nonverbal cues that are common across cultures, such as smiling to convey happiness or frowning to express displeasure, there are also many cultural differences in body language that you'll need to take into account. What might be considered a friendly gesture in one culture could be seen as offensive in another. Additionally, individual differences in personality and communication style can affect how people express themselves nonverbally. Some people are naturally more expressive and animated, while others are more reserved and subtle in their body language. As you learn to read body language, you'll need to consider these individual differences and adapt your interpretations accordingly. Developing your skills in reading body language is a continuous process that requires practice and self-reflection. As you become more attuned to nonverbal cues, you'll find that you can pick up on subtle signals that you might have missed before. You'll be able to sense when someone is uncomfortable or lying, even if their words say otherwise. You'll be able to build stronger, more empathetic connections with others by responding to their nonverbal cues in a way that makes them feel heard and understood. In the chapters that follow, we'll dive deeper into the specific aspects of body language, from facial expressions and eye contact to gestures and posture. We'll explore the meanings behind different nonverbal cues and provide practical tips for interpreting them in real-life situations. By the end of this book, You'll have a comprehensive understanding of the art of reading people and the tools you need to unlock the secrets of body language. So, let's embark on this journey together and discover the fascinating world of nonverbal communication. With practice and perseverance, you'll soon find that you can read people like an open book and use this skill to improve your relationships, your career, and your overall understanding of the world around you. Chapter 2: Facial Expressions, the Window to Emotions. The human face is a canvas upon which emotions are painted, revealing the inner workings of the mind and heart. Facial expressions are the most immediate and direct way we communicate our feelings to others, often without even realizing it. By learning to read and interpret these expressions, you can gain a profound insight into the emotional states of those around you. There are 7 universal facial expressions that are recognized across cultures: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust, and contempt. These expressions are hardwired into our brains and are displayed instinctively when we experience the corresponding emotions. For instance, when we feel happy, our lips curve upward into a smile, and our eyes crinkle at the corners. When we're sad, our eyebrows furrow, and our lips turn downward. These expressions are so deeply ingrained in our biology that even people who are born blind exhibit them in the same way as sighted individuals. However, facial expressions are not always as straightforward as they seem. People can learn to mask their true emotions, either consciously or unconsciously, by putting on a false expression. This is where the concept of micro-expressions comes into play. Micro-expressions are brief, involuntary facial expressions that flash across the face in a fraction of a second, revealing the true emotion underneath the mask. They are difficult to detect with the untrained eye. But with practice, you can learn to spot them and gain a more accurate understanding of someone's emotional state. To detect micro-expressions, you need to pay close attention to the subtle changes in a person's face, particularly around the eyes and mouth. For example, if someone is trying to hide their anger, you might notice a brief flash of tension in their jaw or a narrowing of their eyes. If someone is feigning happiness, you might catch a momentary downturn of the lips or a lack of crinkles around the eyes. By learning to recognize these fleeting expressions, you can get a glimpse into the true emotions that lie beneath the surface. Facial expressions can also be used to detect deception. When someone is lying, they often display what is known as leakage, which refers to the involuntary nonverbal cues that betray their true feelings. For instance, a person who is lying might display a fake smile that doesn't reach their eyes, or they might have a momentary expression of fear or guilt that flashes across their face. By learning to recognize these subtle cues, you can become more adept at spotting when someone is being dishonest. To practice reading facial expressions, start by observing the people around you in your daily life. Pay attention to the way their faces change when they experience different emotions, and try to identify the specific muscles that are involved in each expression. You can also study photographs of faces and try to guess the emotion being displayed. There are many online resources and training programs available that can help you hone your skills in reading facial expressions. It's important to keep in mind that facial expressions can vary depending on cultural background and individual differences. In some cultures, for example, it is considered impolite to show certain emotions openly, so people may be more subtle in their expressions. Additionally, some individuals may have more expressive faces than others, or may have unique ways of displaying certain emotions. As you practice reading facial expressions, be sure to take these individual differences into account and avoid making assumptions based on a single expression alone. Reading facial expressions is a skill that requires practice, patience, and empathy. By learning to recognize the 7 universal expressions, detect micro-expressions, and spot signs of deception, you can gain a deeper understanding of the people around you and respond to their emotional needs with greater sensitivity and understanding. Whether you're navigating a personal relationship, trying to close a business deal, or simply seeking to be a more empathetic friend, the ability to read facial expressions is an invaluable tool that can help you connect with others on a deeper level. Chapter 3. Eye Contact: The Power of Gaze. The eyes have long been regarded as the windows to the soul, and for good reason. Eye contact is one of the most powerful forms of nonverbal communication, capable of conveying a wide range of emotions and intentions. When we look into someone's eyes, we establish a connection that goes beyond words, creating a sense of intimacy and understanding. By learning to interpret the different types of eye contact and their meanings, you can gain valuable insights into the thoughts and feelings of those around you. The most basic form of eye contact is the direct gaze, which occurs when two people look directly into each other's eyes. This type of eye contact is often associated with feelings of honesty, confidence, and engagement. When someone maintains direct eye contact with you, it suggests that they are fully present in the moment and interested in what you have to say. On the other hand, if someone consistently avoids making eye contact, it may indicate that they are feeling uncomfortable, distracted, or even dishonest. The duration of eye contact is also significant. Holding someone's gaze for an extended period can create a sense of intimacy and connection, but it can also be interpreted as threatening or aggressive if done inappropriately. In general, maintaining eye contact for about 60–70% of a conversation is considered optimal for building rapport and showing interest. However, this can vary depending on cultural norms and individual preferences. Another important aspect of eye contact is the direction of the gaze. When someone looks up and to the right, it often indicates that they are accessing their imagination or creating a mental picture. This can be a sign that they are thinking creatively or trying to come up with a solution to a problem. On the other hand, when someone looks down and to the left, it suggests that they are accessing their internal dialogue or recalling a memory. This can be a sign that they are processing information or trying to remember something specific. Pupil dilation and constriction can also provide valuable information about a person's emotional state. When we are interested, excited, or attracted to someone, our pupils tend to dilate, making them appear larger. This is an involuntary response that is controlled by the autonomic nervous system, which means that it cannot be consciously controlled. On the other hand, when we are feeling threatened, anxious, or disinterested, our pupils tend to constrict, making them appear smaller. To interpret pupil dilation and constriction, it's important to take into account the lighting conditions and other environmental factors that may affect pupil size. In general, however, if you notice that someone's pupils are consistently dilated when they are interacting with you, it may be a sign that they are feeling positively towards you. Conversely, if their pupils are consistently constricted, it may indicate that they are feeling uncomfortable or disengaged. Eye contact can also be used strategically to build rapport and convey confidence. When you are speaking to someone, try to maintain steady eye contact without staring or looking away too frequently. This shows that you are fully engaged in the conversation and interested in what they have to say. When you are listening, use eye contact to show that you are paying attention and processing their words. Nod occasionally and use facial expressions to convey your understanding and empathy. In some cases, breaking eye contact can also be used strategically to convey a specific message. For example, if you are delivering bad news or discussing a sensitive topic, breaking eye contact briefly can show that you are aware of the gravity of the situation and are trying to be respectful. Similarly, if you are trying to end a conversation politely, breaking eye contact and turning your body slightly away can signal that you are ready to move on. To practice reading eye contact, start by observing the people around you in your daily life. Notice how their eyes move when they are speaking and listening, and try to identify patterns and consistencies. You can also practice maintaining eye contact during conversations, focusing on creating a sense of connection and understanding. With time and practice, you will become more attuned to the subtle nuances of eye contact and be better equipped to interpret their meanings. Eye contact is a powerful tool for building connections, conveying emotions, and understanding others on a deeper level. By learning to interpret the different types of eye contact and their meanings, you can become a more effective communicator and build stronger, more empathetic relationships with those around you. Whether you are in a professional setting or a personal one, the power of eye contact should never be underestimated. Chapter 4. Gestures and Hand Movements. Gestures and hand movements are an integral part of nonverbal communication, adding emphasis, clarity, and depth to our words. From a simple wave to a complex series of movements, our hands can convey a wide range of emotions and intentions. By understanding the meanings behind common gestures and learning to use them effectively, you can enhance your ability to communicate with others and express yourself more fully. One of the most basic and universal hand gestures is the pointing gesture, which is used to draw attention to a specific person, object, or direction. Pointing can be done with one finger or with a whole hand, and can convey a sense of authority, accusation, or emphasis. When used appropriately, pointing can be an effective way to direct someone's attention or make a strong point. However, in some cultures, pointing is considered rude or aggressive, so it's important to be mindful of cultural differences when using this gesture. Another common hand gesture is the OK sign, which is made by touching the thumb and index finger together to form a circle. In most Western cultures, this gesture is used to indicate agreement, approval, or that everything is fine. However, in some countries, such as Brazil and Turkey, the OK sign is considered vulgar or offensive. So it's important to be aware of these cultural differences when using this gesture. The thumbs up gesture is another widely recognized hand signal, used to convey approval, agreement, or encouragement. This gesture is often used in informal settings, such as among friends or in sports, to show support or congratulations. In some Middle Eastern countries, however, the thumbs up gesture is considered rude or insulting, so it's important to be mindful of cultural context when using this signal. Hand gestures can also be used to convey more complex messages and emotions. For example, the palm up gesture, where the hand is held out with the palm facing upward, is often used to indicate openness, honesty, or a willingness to receive. This gesture can be particularly effective when trying to build trust or establish rapport with someone. On the other hand, the palm down gesture, where the hand is held out with the palm facing downward, can convey dominance, authority, or finality. The finger purse gesture, where the fingertips of one hand are brought together to form a point, is often used to emphasize a point or convey precision. This gesture is commonly used by politicians, lawyers, and other public speakers to add weight to their words and make their arguments more compelling. However, overusing this gesture can come across as condescending or aggressive, so it's important to use it sparingly and in the appropriate context. Gestures can also vary significantly across cultures, and what may be considered a friendly or neutral gesture in one culture can be seen as offensive or inappropriate in another. For example, in some Asian countries, such as Japan and China, pointing with the index finger is considered rude, and it's more polite to use an open hand or the whole arm to indicate direction. Similarly, in some African and Middle Eastern cultures, using the left hand for gestures or other activities is considered unclean or disrespectful. To use gestures effectively in your own communication, start by observing the gestures used by those around you. Notice how different gestures are used in different contexts and situations, and try to identify patterns and meanings. Practice using gestures yourself in low-stakes situations, such as when talking with friends or family, and pay attention to how they are received and interpreted. When using gestures in more formal or high-stakes situations, such as in a job interview or presentation, it's important to use them purposefully and strategically. Avoid overusing gestures or using them in a way that distracts from your message. Instead, use gestures to emphasize key points, convey confidence and authority, and create a sense of connection with your audience. Gestures and hand movements are a powerful tool for enhancing your communication and expressing yourself more fully. By understanding the meanings behind common gestures, being mindful of cultural differences, and using gestures purposefully and strategically, you can become a more effective and engaging communicator. Whether you are giving a presentation, leading a meeting, or simply having a conversation with a friend, the way you use your hands can make all the difference in how your message is received and understood. Chapter 5. Posture and Body Orientation. Posture and body orientation are essential components of nonverbal communication that can convey a wealth of information about a person's emotions, intentions, and overall attitude. The way someone stands, sits, or moves can speak volumes about their confidence level of engagement, and even their perceived status in a given situation. Learning to interpret these subtle cues can help you better understand the people around you and communicate more effectively. One of the most basic aspects of posture is whether someone is standing or sitting up straight or slouching. Generally speaking, an upright posture conveys confidence, alertness, and engagement, while a slouched posture can indicate boredom, fatigue, or a lack of interest. When someone is sitting up straight with their shoulders back and their head held high, they are likely to be perceived as more attentive, assertive, and in control of the situation. On the other hand, when someone is slouching or hunching over, they may come across as disengaged, submissive, or lacking in self-assurance. The position of someone's arms and legs can also provide valuable insights into their emotional state and level of openness. When someone's arms are crossed in front of their body, it can be a sign that they are feeling defensive, closed off, or resistant to what is being said. This is often referred to as a closed body position, as it creates a physical barrier between the person and the rest of the world. On the other hand, when someone's arms are relaxed at their sides or open and expansive, it can indicate that they are feeling more open, receptive, and willing to engage with others. Similarly, the position of someone's legs can also convey important nonverbal cues. When someone is sitting with their legs crossed, it can suggest that they are feeling more closed off or guarded, particularly if their top leg is pointing away from the person they are interacting with. On the other hand, when someone is sitting with their feet on the ground and their legs uncrossed, it can indicate that they are feeling more grounded, open, and approachable. The orientation of someone's body can also be a powerful nonverbal cue, particularly in one-on-one interactions. When two people are engaged in conversation, the direction in which their bodies are facing can indicate their level of interest and engagement. If someone is facing you directly with their shoulders square and their feet pointed towards you, it is a sign that they are fully present and focused on the interaction. However, if someone's body is angled away from you, or they are frequently glancing away, it may indicate that they are distracted, disinterested, or eager to end the conversation. In group settings, body orientation can also provide valuable information about social dynamics and power structures. When someone is speaking to a group, pay attention to who they are facing and how they are orienting their body. If they are primarily facing one or two individuals while excluding others, it may suggest that those individuals hold more power or influence within the group. Similarly, if someone is consistently turning their body away from the group or avoiding eye contact, it may indicate that they feel disconnected or marginalized from the rest of the group. To project confidence and approachability through your own posture and body orientation, focus on maintaining an upright, relaxed stance with your shoulders back and your arms at your sides. When sitting, try to keep your legs uncrossed and your feet on the ground, as this can help you feel more grounded and centered. In one-on-one interactions, make an effort to orient your body towards the other person and maintain an open, engaged posture throughout the conversation. Reading posture and body orientation takes practice, but with time and attention, you can learn to pick up on even the subtlest nonverbal cues. Start by observing the people around you in different settings and situations, and take note of how their posture and body orientation changes depending on their emotional state and the context of the interaction. Pay particular attention to the postures and orientations that convey confidence, openness, and engagement, as these are the qualities that you will want to cultivate in your own nonverbal communication. By understanding the significance of posture and body orientation, You can gain a deeper understanding of the people around you and communicate more effectively in all of your interactions. Whether you are leading a team meeting, navigating a difficult conversation, or simply enjoying a casual chat with a friend, the way you hold yourself can make all the difference in how you are perceived and received by others. Chapter 6. Proxemics, the study of personal space. Proxemics, the study of how we use and perceive the physical space around us, is a crucial aspect of nonverbal communication that often goes unnoticed. The distance we maintain from others can convey a range of emotions and intentions, from intimacy and trust to discomfort and aggression. By understanding the different zones of personal space and how they vary across cultures, we can more effectively navigate social interactions and build stronger, more harmonious relationships. The concept of personal space was first introduced by anthropologist Edward T. Hall in the 1960s. He identified 4 distinct zones of space that we use to regulate our interactions with others: intimate space, personal space, social space, and public space. Each of these zones corresponds to a different level of comfort and familiarity, and the boundaries between them can vary depending on the context and the individuals involved. Intimate space, which extends from the body to about 18 inches, is reserved for the closest relationships, such as those with romantic partners, family members, and close friends. Within this space, physical contact is common and even expected, and communication is often characterized by soft voices, whispers, and physical touch. Invading someone's intimate space without permission can be seen as a violation of trust and can cause discomfort or even aggression. Personal space, which extends from about 18 inches to 4 feet, is the zone in which we interact with acquaintances and colleagues. In this space, we maintain a comfortable distance that allows for easy conversation and eye contact, but physical touch is less common. The boundaries of personal space can vary depending on the relationship and the context, but in general, people feel more at ease when they have some control over who enters this space and how long they stay. Social space, which extends from about 4 to 12 feet, is the zone in which we interact with strangers and more casual acquaintances. In this space, communication is more formal and less personal, and physical contact is rare. We use social space to maintain a sense of privacy and autonomy in public settings, such as when waiting in line or attending a social event. Public space, which extends beyond 12 feet, is the zone in which we interact with large groups and audiences. In this space, communication is often one-way and impersonal, and physical contact is almost non-existent. We use public space to maintain a sense of anonymity and distance from others, such as when attending a lecture or watching a performance. The boundaries between these zones are not fixed and can vary depending on a range of factors, including cultural norms, personal preferences, and the context of the interaction. In some cultures, such as those in Latin America and the Middle East, personal space tends to be smaller, and physical touch is more common. In other cultures, such as those in Northern Europe and Asia, personal space tends to be larger, and physical touch is less frequent. To navigate personal space effectively, it's important to be aware of these cultural differences and to adapt your behavior accordingly. When interacting with someone from a different cultural background, take cues from their body language and try to match their level of physical proximity. If they seem uncomfortable with close contact, respect their boundaries and maintain a more distant posture. In addition to cultural differences, personal space can also be influenced by factors such as age, gender, and power dynamics. In general, people tend to maintain more distance from those who are perceived as having higher status or authority, such as bosses or teachers. Similarly, men tend to maintain more distance from each other than women do, and older individuals may prefer more personal space than younger ones. Understanding the concept of personal space can also help us create a sense of comfort and safety in social interactions. When we feel that our personal space is being respected, we are more likely to feel at ease and open to communication. On the other hand, When our personal space is invaded or violated, we may feel threatened or uncomfortable, leading to defensive or even aggressive behavior. To create a sense of comfort and respect in your own interactions, be mindful of the personal space of those around you. Avoid standing too close or making unexpected physical contact, and pay attention to nonverbal cues that may indicate discomfort or unease. When in doubt, err on the side of maintaining more distance and allowing others to control the level of physical proximity. By understanding the different zones of personal space and how they vary across cultures and individuals, we can more effectively navigate social interactions and build stronger, more positive relationships. Whether in personal or professional settings, the ability to read and respect personal space is a valuable skill that can help us communicate more effectively and create a sense of comfort and trust with those around us. Chapter 7. Haptics. The language of touch. Touch is a fundamental aspect of human communication that has the power to convey a wide range of emotions and intentions. From a gentle pat on the back to a firm handshake, the way we use touch can have a profound impact on our relationships and interactions with others. Haptics, the study of touch and its role in communication, offers valuable insights into how we can harness the power of touch to build stronger connections and convey empathy and support. Touch is one of the first senses to develop in humans, and it remains an essential part of our communication throughout our lives. Infants rely on touch to bond with their caregivers and feel secure. And as we grow older, touch continues to play a vital role in our emotional and social development. Studies have shown that touch can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and even boost the immune system. In social interactions, touch can convey a range of messages and emotions, depending on the context and the relationship between the individuals involved. A firm handshake, for example, can convey confidence and professionalism in a business setting, while a gentle touch on the arm can show support and empathy in a more personal conversation. However, the meaning of touch can also vary significantly across cultures and contexts. In some cultures, such as those in Latin America and Southern Europe, touch is a common and expected part of social interactions, even between strangers. In these cultures, greetings often involve hugs or kisses on the cheek, and touch is used frequently to convey warmth and affection. In other cultures, such as those in Asia and Northern Europe, touch is used more sparingly and is often reserved for close relationships. In these cultures, touching someone without permission can be seen as a violation of personal space and can cause discomfort or offense. To use touch effectively in communication, it's essential to be aware of these cultural differences and to adapt your behavior accordingly. When interacting with someone from a different cultural background, take cues from their body language and observe how they use touch in their interactions with others. If in doubt, err on the side of caution and avoid touching until you have established a level of rapport and trust. It's also crucial to be mindful of power dynamics and personal boundaries when using touch in communication. In professional settings, touch should be used sparingly and only when appropriate, such as during a handshake or when offering comfort to a colleague in distress. In more personal relationships, it's essential to respect the boundaries and preferences of others and to seek permission before initiating physical contact. When used appropriately, touch can be a powerful tool for conveying empathy and building connections with others. A gentle touch on the hand or shoulder can show support and understanding during a difficult conversation, while a warm hug can convey affection and care. To incorporate touch into your own communication style, start by paying attention to how others use touch in their interactions with you. Notice how different types of touch make you feel and what messages they convey. Experiment with using touch in your own interactions, starting with small gestures like a brief touch on the arm or a warm handshake. As you become more comfortable with using touch, you can begin to incorporate it more frequently into your communication, always being mindful of the context and the preferences of others. Pay attention to nonverbal cues that may indicate discomfort or unease, and be prepared to adjust your behavior accordingly. Learning to use touch effectively in communication is a skill that requires practice and sensitivity. By being attuned to the needs and preferences of others and using touch judiciously and appropriately, you can harness the power of haptics to build stronger, more empathetic connections with those around you. Touch is a vital aspect of human communication that has the power to convey a wide range of emotions and intentions. By understanding the cultural and personal differences in the use of touch and being mindful of power dynamics and personal boundaries, we can learn to use touch effectively to build stronger relationships and convey empathy and support. Whether in personal or professional settings, the language of touch is a powerful tool that can help us connect more deeply with others and navigate the complexities of human interaction. Chapter 8. Vocal Cues. Beyond the Words. The way we speak, beyond the actual words we use, carries a wealth of information about our emotions, intentions, and attitudes. Our vocal cues, including pitch, tone, speed, and volume, can convey a range of messages that can either reinforce or contradict the words we speak. By learning to interpret these cues and use them effectively in our own communication, we can become more persuasive, build stronger connections with others, and navigate even the most challenging conversations with grace and skill. Pitch, the highness or lowness of our voice, is one of the most fundamental aspects of vocal communication. A high-pitched voice can convey excitement, enthusiasm, or nervousness, while a low-pitched voice can suggest authority, confidence, or calm. In general, a moderate pitch is the most effective for communication, as it conveys a sense of credibility and trustworthiness. Tone, the emotional quality of our voice, is another essential aspect of vocal communication. A warm, friendly tone can create a sense of rapport and connection with others, while a cold or hostile tone can create distance and tension. Sarcasm, a tone that conveys the opposite meaning of the words spoken, can be particularly tricky to interpret and can easily lead to misunderstandings and conflict. Speed, the rate at which we speak, can also convey important messages about our emotional state and intentions. Speaking quickly can suggest excitement, urgency, or nervousness, while speaking slowly can convey calm, thoughtfulness, or deliberation. In general, a moderate speaking speed is the most effective for communication, as it allows listeners to process the information being conveyed and keeps them engaged. Volume, the loudness or softness of our voice, is another powerful tool for conveying emotion and intention. Speaking loudly can convey excitement, anger, or confidence, while speaking softly can suggest intimacy, shyness, or uncertainty. In general, a moderate volume is the most effective for communication, as it allows listeners to hear the message clearly without feeling overwhelmed or intimidated. By paying attention to these vocal cues in others, we can gain valuable insights into their emotional states and intentions. A person who speaks quickly and at a high pitch, for example, may be feeling excited or anxious, while a person who speaks slowly and at a low volume may be feeling sad or discouraged. To interpret vocal cues accurately, it's essential to consider them in context and in combination with other nonverbal cues, such as facial expressions and body language. A person who speaks quickly and at a high pitch while smiling and maintaining eye contact, for example, is likely conveying genuine excitement and enthusiasm. On the other hand, a person who speaks quickly and at a high pitch while avoiding eye contact and fidgeting may be feeling nervous or uncomfortable. To use vocal cues effectively in your own communication, start by paying attention to your own voice and how it changes in different situations. Notice how your pitch, tone, speed, and volume vary depending on your emotional state and the context of the conversation. Experiment with using different vocal cues to convey different messages and observe how others respond. When communicating with others, be mindful of your vocal cues and use them intentionally to reinforce your message. If you want to convey confidence and authority, for example, speak at a moderate pace and volume, with a slightly lower pitch. If you want to convey empathy and understanding, use a warm, friendly tone and speak at a slightly slower pace. It's also essential to be aware of cultural differences in vocal communication. In some cultures, speaking loudly and quickly is seen as a sign of enthusiasm and engagement, while in others, it may be perceived as aggressive or rude. Similarly, in some cultures, speaking softly and slowly is seen as a sign of respect and deference, while in others, it may be perceived as a lack of confidence or competence. To navigate these cultural differences effectively, it's important to do your research and observe how others communicate in different contexts. Pay attention to the vocal cues that are most common and effective in each culture, and adapt your own communication style accordingly. Vocal cues are a powerful tool for conveying emotion, building rapport, and persuading others. By learning to interpret these cues accurately and use them intentionally in your own communication, you can become a more effective communicator and build stronger, more meaningful connections with those around you. Whether you're giving a presentation, leading a team meeting, or navigating a difficult conversation with a friend or family member, the ability to use your voice effectively can make all the difference. By paying attention to your pitch, tone, speed, and volume, and adapting your vocal cues to the context and the needs of your listeners, you can become a more confident, persuasive, and empathetic communicator. Chapter 9. Putting it all together. Real-life applications. Now that we've explored the various aspects of nonverbal communication, from facial expressions and eye contact to posture, gestures, and vocal cues, it's time to put all of this knowledge into practice. In this chapter, we'll look at how to apply the principles of body language in real-life situations, from business meetings and job interviews to social gatherings and public speaking engagements. One of the most important areas where body language skills can make a significant impact is in the workplace. Whether you're leading a team, giving a presentation, or interviewing for a new position, your nonverbal communication can either reinforce or undermine your message. By using confident, open body language and maintaining eye contact, you can project competence and credibility, even if you're feeling nervous or uncertain. When giving a presentation or leading a meeting, pay attention to your posture and gestures. Stand tall with your shoulders back and your feet shoulder width apart, and use purposeful gestures to emphasize key points. Avoid fidgeting or crossing your arms, as these can convey nervousness or defensiveness. Instead, keep your hands relaxed at your sides, or use them to express yourself in a natural, authentic way. If you're interviewing for a new job, your body language can be just as important as your qualifications and experience. Dress professionally and arrive early to give yourself time to settle in and calm your nerves. During the interview, sit up straight and lean slightly forward to show engagement and interest. Maintain eye contact with your interviewer and smile genuinely to build rapport. Avoid negative body language such as slouching, fidgeting, or avoiding eye contact, as these can convey a lack of confidence or enthusiasm. In social situations, body language can be a powerful tool for building connections and creating a positive impression. When meeting new people, use open, welcoming body language such as uncrossing your arms, smiling, and maintaining eye contact. Show interest in others by leaning in slightly and nodding as they speak. Avoid negative body language such as looking at your phone, scanning the room, or turning away from the person you're talking to, as these can convey disinterest or rudeness. If you're attending a networking event or social gathering, use your body language to project confidence and approachability. Stand tall with your shoulders back and your head held high, and keep your hands visible and relaxed. Avoid standing with your arms crossed or your hands in your pockets, as these can convey defensiveness or disinterest. Instead, use natural, expressive gestures to convey enthusiasm and engagement. When it comes to public speaking, your body language can be just as important as the content of your speech. Before you take the stage, take a few deep breaths and shake out any nervous energy. Stand tall with your feet shoulder width apart and your weight evenly distributed. Make eye contact with your audience and smile to build rapport and connection. Use purposeful gestures to emphasize key points and keep your audience engaged. As you speak, pay attention to your vocal cues as well. Use a clear, confident voice and vary your pitch, tone, and volume to keep your audience interested. Avoid speaking too quickly or too slowly, and use pauses strategically to allow your audience to process your message. If you make a mistake or lose your place, don't let it throw you off. Take a deep breath, smile, and keep going. Developing your body language skills takes practice and self-awareness, but the benefits are well worth the effort. By using nonverbal communication effectively, you can build stronger relationships, communicate more clearly, and achieve your goals in both personal and professional settings. Start by observing the body language of others in different situations, and notice how it affects your perceptions and interactions. Pay attention to your own body language as well, and experiment with different techniques to see what feels natural and authentic for you. With time and practice, you'll develop a keen sense of nonverbal communication that can help you navigate even the most challenging situations with confidence and grace. Remember, body language is just one aspect of effective communication, but it's a powerful one. By combining strong verbal skills with purposeful, authentic nonverbal communication, you can become a more effective leader, collaborator, and friend. So go out there and put your body language skills to work, and watch as your relationships and opportunities flourish. Chapter 10. Conclusion and Continuous Improvement. Throughout this book, we've explored the fascinating world of body language and its crucial role in human communication. From the subtleties of facial expressions to the power of posture and gestures, we've seen how nonverbal cues can convey a wealth of information about our thoughts, feelings, and intentions. We began by laying the foundation for understanding body language, discussing the importance of nonverbal communication and the science behind it. We then delved into the specifics of facial expressions, learning how to recognize the 7 universal expressions and detect the fleeting microexpressions that can reveal hidden emotions. Next, we explored the intricacies of eye contact, discovering how the direction and duration of our gaze can convey confidence, interest, or discomfort. We also learned how to interpret pupil dilation and constriction, and how to use eye contact strategically to build rapport and connection. Moving on to gestures and hand movements, we saw how these nonverbal cues can add emphasis and clarity to our words, and how they vary across cultures. We also learned how to use gestures purposefully and authentically to reinforce our message and build credibility. In our discussion of posture and body orientation, we discovered how the way we stand, sit, and move can project confidence, openness, or defensiveness. We learned how to use posture and orientation strategically to create a positive impression and build trust with others. We then explored the concept of personal space, learning about the 4 zones of proxemics and how they vary across cultures and contexts. We saw how respecting others' personal space can create a sense of comfort and safety, while violating it can lead to tension and unease. In our chapter on haptics, we discovered the power of touch in human communication, and how it can convey a range of emotions from comfort and care to aggression and dominance. We learned how to use touch appropriately and effectively to build connection and rapport, while respecting personal boundaries and cultural norms. Next, we delved into the world of vocal cues, exploring how pitch, tone, speed, and volume can convey a range of emotions and intentions beyond the words we speak. We learned how to use our voice strategically to reinforce our message and build credibility, while adapting to cultural differences and individual preferences. In our chapter on real-life applications, we saw how the principles of body language can be applied in a variety of settings, from business meetings and job interviews to social gatherings and public speaking engagements. We learned how to use nonverbal communication effectively to build stronger relationships, communicate more clearly, and achieve our goals. As we come to the end of this book, it's important to remember that mastering the art of body language is a lifelong journey. While the principles and techniques we've discussed provide a solid foundation, true mastery comes through continuous practice, self-reflection, and adaptation. To continue developing your skills in reading and using body language, start by observing the nonverbal cues of those around you. Notice how people communicate through their facial expressions, eye contact, gestures, posture, and vocal cues, and try to interpret the messages they're sending. Pay attention to the context and the relationship between the individuals, and consider how cultural differences may be influencing their behavior. At the same time, practice using body language intentionally and strategically in your own interactions. Experiment with different techniques and observe how others respond. Pay attention to what feels authentic and natural for you, and adapt your approach as needed. Remember that body language is just one aspect of effective communication, and it's important to use it in conjunction with strong verbal skills and emotional intelligence. Take the time to develop your active listening skills, your ability to express yourself clearly and confidently, and your capacity for empathy and understanding. There are many resources available to support you in your ongoing learning and development. Consider attending workshops or seminars on nonverbal communication, or working with a coach or mentor who can provide personalized feedback and guidance. There are also numerous books, articles, and online resources that can deepen your understanding of body language and its applications. As you continue to develop your skills, remember to approach body language with curiosity, openness, and a willingness to learn. Every interaction provides an opportunity to observe, experiment, and grow, and every person has something valuable to teach us about the art of nonverbal communication. In closing, I invite you to embrace the power of body language in your personal and professional life. By mastering the nonverbal cues that shape our interactions, you can build stronger, more meaningful connections with others, communicate more effectively, and achieve your goals with greater ease and confidence. So go out there and put your newfound knowledge into practice. Observe, experiment, and adapt, and watch as your relationships and opportunities flourish. With time, patience, and perseverance, you too can become a master of the art of reading people and unlock the secrets of body language.